welcome back to the channel, and today we're in the test map, which means, you know, some crazy stuff is probably gonna happen. And we got some dynamite, which you know it's gonna involve some dynamite, and you probably already read the title and saw the thumbnail, so you probably already know what this video is about. But just to make it immensely clear, I saw this suggestion by Dr. Trains was to test how fast we need to fly or drive to go outside of the blast radius of an explosive in Trailmakers. And funny enough, this was actually an idea I planned on doing soon and forgot. I completely forgot that I wanted to do this, so thanks for the reminder. Recently, I uploaded the video where I built a plane that could fire a bullet and then fly ahead of its own bullet and then hit itself with the bullet, and the issue I had is that only my tail was getting damaged, and I had the hypothesis that because we're going fast and even if the bullet hits us in the front, we are essentially traveling through the explosion, and the explosion isn't damaging us until we've already traveled a distance, so it keeps gravitating towards the tail. And if we follow that to its logical conclusion, there should be a speed where we go fast enough that the explosion is far enough behind our vehicle that it doesn't damage us at all. And I figured a ground vehicle is going to be the best way to test this because we get to control at least one axis of movement. We don't have to worry about our up and down movement. We can just go in a straight line on the ground. So let's build ourselves a super fast ground vehicle. And then I think there's got to be, I'm going to have to think of a way to just test the damage and speed, like just control those things. I think I'm gonna go for an actual engine-based land vehicle for now. If I need to switch to thrusters, I'll switch to thrusters, but it should be good enough. We're not trying to, well, I was gonna say we're not trying to like build a supersonic vehicle, but if that's the speed we need to avoid getting damaged, maybe we are building a supersonic vehicle. I'm not gonna put steering on this thing because we don't need to steer. Just not important at all. All right, we are good aerodynamically. Let's see what kind of speed this thing gets up to by itself. All right, it's not the fastest land vehicle I've built, that's for sure. Well, it's still accelerating pretty well. Okay, I thought we were kind of capping out around 600, but it is not slowing down. Okay, this is supersonic. I'm pretty sure we're gonna break the sound barrier. We might hit the wall first, but by the rate of acceleration, we are definitely, yep, there we go. Sound barrier, wall's gonna come up any second now. There it is. What? The vehicle hardly got damaged. We just hit a wall at supersonic speed. All right, so now that we know we can go supersonic, let's add an explosive to the back of this thing. Oh, there's a perfect way to do this. I just had a epiphany. So I attach an explosive, obviously, to the back of the vehicle. And then I gotta figure out where to put this. I attach a speed sensor to the front of our vehicle here. Now this speed sensor is actually what triggers the explosive. And then we can just set our speed values and trigger it at gradually faster speeds and then see what kind of damage it does. So let's start with 100 kilometers an hour. And let's see how much damage it does to us. Here we go. Oh, that was very fast. All right, we also need, we need to be able to tell how much damage we have received. So what I'm going to do is, what am I going to do? How many of these do I have here? I have 18 engines and then the wheels. So I'm gonna divide them into threes and we will paint white, black, white, black. All white, black. Now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 3 segments each of white and black. So then we can objectively see how far the explosion has made it into our vehicle. So now let's see, 100 kilometers an hour. All right, so it goes, we have 3 segments of black still and only 2/3 of the last black segment. So let's see if that's consistent. All right, we have an extra 1/6 that time. All right, yeah, so now we have the same one, same as that time. So another 4 segments plus 5/6 of a 5th segment. All right, now it's 4/6 or 2/3. It seems to be a little bit of variability in the explosion, but it cuts off about this much. Let's actually compare that to, I think if I just press E. All right, so it's virtually the same as not moving. So you can see right now, a speed of 100 kilometers an hour does not really protect you from any damage. So let's double it. 200 kilometers an hour. Okay. That was different. We have the full third section of black. Let's see if we get a different result now. No, it's the same. Okay. I think this is promising. I think this is, we're starting to prove the concept here. That one is similar result as before at 100. All right, let's keep moving up. Let's double it again to 400. There we go. I want to see some white engines on there. Oh, look at that. Our first white engine on the last segment. Okay, it's happening. It is happening. Let's do it again. Another test. Yeah, same exact result. Okay, we're on to something, I think. I think the explosions, we are getting ahead of the explosions. One more test. All right, 3 identical tests pretty much. All right, I think I'm gonna start going in increments of 200. Just I want to kind of get a idea of like how much of an increase in speed reduces how much damage. I don't want to just go straight to 0 damage. Kind of want to see the spectrum of the damage reduction. Not only because I think it would be interesting, but because the video won't end too early. All right, here we go. What did I do? 600? I think we're going to 600 kilometers an hour now. Here we go. 400, 500. Each test is going to take longer and longer. 600. Wait, that was too soon. Wait, 600? We technically didn't come out unscathed because we got a flat tire, but hold on. That was a surprising jump in damage reduction. We gotta figure out some, like I was hoping, or I was thinking we were gonna get down to like this much damage, but we got down to essentially this much damage. And like not even that much. Here, hold on. So we went from 400 to 600, so then 500. Let's make a prediction here. If I go in between, 500 should be like, I'm gonna guess we're gonna have like one of these engines right here left. There it goes. Oh, we didn't have one of those engines left, but now we've got 2 white engines. See, this is weird. The damage reduction here, from 400 to 500, we've gained 1 single engine. But from 500 to 600, almost no more damage. This seems like a weird threshold, like punctuated equilibrium style thing here. Oh, look at that. That was what I called. That right there is what I called. Let's do one more test, see if it's more like this test or if it is another just 2 engines, 2 white engines on the back there. All right, look at that. So I think my prediction was, it's more along the lines of my prediction, which makes me feel good. All right, so I want to go, we're getting close to the threshold now. I'm gonna go 550 now, because it seems like 600 was a bit of a magic number, but we only did 1 test. But let's see if 550 gets us onto a last row of engines here. Whoa! Look at that. Okay, so that's just the wheels then. Well, there is 1 engine in the back in between the wheels, but the last segment survived. You can definitely see that we are just taking less and less damage from this explosion, even though the distance from the explosion to our vehicle is objectively the same. The speed that we are traveling from the explosion, I guess, the explosion does not retain any conservation of momentum. Which, like, I feel like in real life, it would be like shooting a gun. Like, if you're on a vehicle that's traveling 500 kilometers an hour and you shoot a gun, the bullet's gonna go at the speed of a bullet plus 500 kilometers an hour, and then wind resistance and all that stuff happens after it leaves the barrel. But I feel like an explosion, like, I guess it's like, I don't know. If it's like a grenade type explosion where there's shrapnel, that shrapnel is definitely gonna have conservation of momentum. But since the explosion, if the explosion is like shockwaves, it seems like conservation of momentum is a thing that should apply to explosions too. But not in Trailmakers, apparently. What are we at, 550 again? Yeah, so 550 is just that last segment that holds the wheels and the engine. All right, so let's check out 600 again. So the last time we did 600, we got a flat tire and that was it. All right, so here we go. 600. Are we gonna get another flat tire? Are we gonna lose a tire? Are we gonna be unscathed? Wow, another flat tire and just the left flat tire for some reason. I wonder why the right one seems not affected. I wonder if this, oh, do you think the explosion, oh, I have another test here. I think the explosion works like the distance sensors. I mean, here we go. Look at that. So the distance sensors, in case you didn't know, the distance sensors are a 2x1 rectangular block. But right now, the way that they detect distance is only one side of them is actually sensing on a single block. Even though it's a 2x1, there's only a 1x1 sensor. So I wonder, I'm gonna make a bet right now, a hypothesis that if I do this, if I take this and I rotate it 180 degrees, I think the right tire is going to pop now. Let's see what happens. We got 3 left tires in a row. I think the right tire is gonna do it now. Here we go. Called it. All right, so the explosion also comes from one side of the dynamite. I think. I think this is evidence to support that. Let's do one more test, see if we get another right side. Because I could have just been like, you know, a 1 in 4 chance that I get the right side, but let's get 2 in a row. Yeah, look at that. Right side again as soon as we hit 600. So my explosion is clearly coming from one block of the 2x1 dynamite. All right, so let's find the exact speed to the kilometer per hour that we receive 0 damage. So I'm gonna go up to 610. Do we get a flat tire at 610? All right, here we go. Oh! Wait, I'm broken? It says I'm, oh, no, the dynamite broke. The dynamite is what's broken. It exploded. So we just survived with 0. Well, do we have 0 damage? I'm trying to slow down right now. I think we have 0 damage. All right. Oh, all right. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. We need, all right, I'm going to get rid of this engine. From my understanding, the weakest blocks are the smallest blocks. So I'm wondering if I put these in the back, like I need the most resolution of damage, because if we have a really tires are probably stronger than regular blocks, and if we have the dynamite next to strong blocks, they just might be resisting a small amount of damage and not showing it. So we need something that even if it takes a small amount of damage, that we're gonna see the effects of it. So I'm gonna do these single their smallest little block here, our single 2x1 blocks. Okay, here we go. Well, would you look at that? We have completely avoided all damage. I gotta be honest, this speed is way slower than I was expecting. Oh, I should have made a guess at the beginning and encouraged you guys to guess too. Just blind guessing to see what it was. Because I probably, what would I have guessed? Trying to erase all memory of the past 20 minutes and think of what I would have thought back then. I probably would have said like 800, 900. I don't know. I probably would have said like 900 kilometers an hour. But it appears that the answer, actually, we don't have the full answer yet. We know it's between 600 and 610. Right now, 610 is what we've chosen, and we receive 0 visible damage, I will say. But let's reduce it down to 605. Well, look at that. Now, the weird thing, it's hard to really objectively tell, because I don't know if you noticed, but when the explosion happened, the screen shook and you saw like the little cracks on the edge, which kind of indicates that you've taken some damage. But without any part showing any signs of glowing, there's no real confirmation that you are damaged. So I'm not going to use the screen shake necessarily as a damage indicator. Like, we need a visual indicator on the actual creation itself, which means that 605 was 0 damage. So let's go down to 603. All right, here it comes. What? We're getting really close to 600. All right, I'm going down to 601. Okay. Okay, I'm a little like skeptical now. Let's do 601 2 more times. Get a bigger sample size, and then I'm gonna go back to 600 and see if that consistently gives us a flat tire again. You can see nothing glowing, no flat tire. All right, third time's a charm. 601. Yeah, we got no damage, no visible damage. All right, now let's bring it back to 600. We should get a flat tire. If we don't, then something weird is happening that makes this impossible to get an objective true value. Oh no, we got so consistent. Did me changing the last blocks change what happens? Oh, that should not have affected the damage to the tires. The dynamite is in the same exact spot in relation to the tires. So the damage to the tires should not be impacted. Okay, there we go. That time we got damage. So maybe there was that 1 in 5 or so chance that our tire just avoided any damage for some reason. Here we go. Oh, we're not seeing another flat tire. Now it's like feeling like it might even be 50-50. We've gotten mixed results. Look at that, another flat tire. All right, there might be some really small factors at 600 where it's just hit or miss, literally, whether or not you're gonna take some damage to your tires. Keep in mind that the explosive is literally right next to the tires, but I'm pretty sure that 601 could be the magic number. I've done 3 trials with 601 so far and got 0 flat tires. I think some more trials is needed. If we get a single flat tire at 601, then I will declare that not immune to explosions. Even if it doesn't happen every time, if it happens once, that's enough. I'm essentially like stress testing this vehicle. Like what is it rated for explosion resistance? It's like explosion minimum required speed for explosion resistance 601 kilometers an hour. It's like waterproof ratings on phones and cameras. All right, I've done a handful of tests. I've never gotten a flat tire now. I think 601 is the magic number. Okay, so there's one more test I need to do now. Now that we've found, so there's one thing particular about this measurement here. 601 kilometers an hour is the measurement in which the part that the explosion is in contact with escapes the explosion. Now, theoretically, what should happen here, if I move the explosion up to here, it should cause damage from around here and back. So we should get severed either here or here, but I don't know if these engines take damage the same amount as a flat tire does. I suspect that a flat tire has a smaller damage threshold than these engines do, but let's find out. I'm guessing that this black section and on will get disconnected at 601 kilometers an hour, and that the speed sensors and the engines below the speed sensors will take 0 damage. All right, let's see what happens. Here we go. Well, that was very unexpected. However, also kind of still what I said. It's just, so what I'm looking at here, the dynamite was right here at the back of these speed sensors. I predicted that the damage was going to happen either on this first or second section of engines behind the dynamite. And technically, the closest thing of damage is on that first section of engines. The weird thing is all of these engines survived and allowed all of this to stay attached too. So that's a little bit of the weird part, but kind of basically when we just take into account the closest point of damage, we're right where I was thinking we were gonna be. It just didn't happen the way I thought it was gonna happen. It happened where I thought, but not the way I thought. All right, let's try it again, see what happens. Very strange. Very strange indeed. I mean, this also could be coming down to the side, like the one side of the dynamite actually is responsible for the explosion. No real way to tell which side, but let's give a third test for science. Oh, there we go. That is exactly what I was expecting the first time. It actually severed it exactly where the dynamite was, but not in front of the dynamite. So in one final experiment, this is something that's hard to measure because it's all dependent. It depends on how big your creation is and then where you get hit. Because We know that 601 kilometers an hour will protect you if you get hit right in your back most part of your creation. But chances are they might hit like up here or down here. Also, this is like dynamite and not like an actual tank cannon projectile or a bomb that explodes. I'm just going to assume that it's the same speed, but it's based on nothing other than the fact that it would just be harder to test those things, and I don't want to do that. But let's say that you just get hit somewhere and there's creation of yours behind the part that gets hit. How much faster do we need to go to escape the explosion? Because like we saw, there's a pretty small window of threshold where you get really damaged and then you get very little damage. So we might not need to go that much faster to fully escape this explosion. So I'm gonna bump it up to 620, but the explosive stays right up behind my seat. So now where is this gonna go? At least when it comes to the damage. Where is it gonna go? Here we go, 620. That surprised me. That is essentially the same result as 601. Let's go to 650 then. What? Everything was kind of following a very predictable curve, and now it's not. The one difference between this and what we were doing before is the explosion is up a block. 2 blocks. Yeah, it's up 2 blocks, which I feel like it shouldn't matter, but let's bump it up to 700. There's gotta be a point where the explosion goes further back into the vehicle, right? All right, there is more of the vehicle, but that's not what I'm focusing on right now. What I'm focusing on right now is the closest point of damage. And if we look, it's only 1 engine block further. All right, I'm gonna bump it up to 800. We're gonna start going up a lot now. This experiment has definitely taken a turn, a very unexpected turn, which is ironic because this vehicle has no steering. So there we go. So that was a big jump in speed to get a marginal increase in damage reduction. But what I was gonna say as far as the unexpected turns goes is that I guess a vehicle without steering, that is where unexpected turns would be most likely to happen. Because if it had steering, you would expect the turns. All right, so I'm gonna do one more at 800 so I can see if we get anything different happening. Whoa, what? That was a weird one. All right, so the first black section survived. The first bit of damage is at the first engine block of the white section. I'm gonna bump it up to 900. Okay, 900, here we go. All right, so now the second white engine block. As far as this experiment goes, having this much vehicle behind the explosion, I don't know if it's practical to escape an explosion like this. I think I'm gonna bump it up to 1,000, but I just think you gotta hope that they hit you in the back. I don't know if there's gonna be like 100% immunity speed. I mean, there should be, like, theoretically, but practically, I'm not thinking so. 601 kilometers an hour, I think, is a very practical speed for Trailmakers. But once you start going like Mach 1, all right, here we go, 1,000. Oh, look at that, into the second section of black engines. All right. You know, let's just go supersonic. Supersonic is like roughly 12, like 37 or so. So we're gonna break the sound barrier and explode at the same time. But place your bets, where is a supersonic explosion going to damage our vehicle? I'm thinking the end of the second black section. So like right where the camera's looking right there. All right, 1237, we're getting close. Here. I like how even though I'm steering, I can pretend to steer and it makes my character look like he's grooving. Like about to go supersonic and explode. All right, here we go. 1,237. Okay. So it actually didn't do as good as I expected. I was expecting the end of this black section, but it was right after the first one, so not that great. So even going supersonic, I mean, if you're thinking about this, where the speed sensors are, if you're thinking about the speed sensors as the back of your vehicle, oh jeez. So if you're thinking about the speed sensors as the back of your vehicle, that explosion isn't even being detected until back here. So you have like this safety buffer right here at supersonic speeds. Whereas at 601 kilometers an hour, you have a safety buffer of about, well, this much, like right about here. So I think this was a fun experiment. We got some results. I don't know what you're gonna do with these results other than like try to go 601 kilometers an hour at all times. And like, I don't even know, when are you gonna get hit with an explosive at 601 kilometers an hour in this game? Like, practically speaking, what use is this? Why did you watch this video? This is pointless. Well, I hope it was entertaining at least. And if it was entertaining, you'll probably find more stuff on the channel pretty entertaining. So you can go ahead and check those out right here on the end screen. Hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.